A few days ago, I put this poll up on my channel. Is Insurgency Sandstorm becoming too casual? The majority of the votes lean toward yes. Right now, it appears the community is not the greatest fan of the game. So let's talk about that. And let's take a look at it from NWI's perspective as well. My name is Tacti. If hardcore tactical shooters are your thing, subscribe and make my dreams come true. 5K by the end of May. Alright, let's get it. Alright, right off the bat, let's get a couple things established. Number one, I fall into this category here. I'm gonna go with the flow kind of guy. I try to be reasonable with both sides, and I try to keep my bias out of it as much as humanly possible anyway. And number two, yes, the game has become more casual since the initial launch. Quicker movements, the death cam, domination mode, outpost mode, all these things have pushed the game towards a more casual experience. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, even the devs. But has it gone too far? Have the devs given up too much of their original design for the sake of the casual experience? Well, let's take a look at some of the changes and also take a look at why Sandstorm is in a really tough position, especially when it comes to their current cosmetic monetization system. The changes started at about 1.5. Now, while this 1.5 update did increase the ability to run and gun, it wasn't a huge game changer and it didn't really affect the community all that much. 1.6, however, did. 1.6 added that death cam. At one time in Sandstorm, if you remember all the way back then, when you were shot and killed, you had very few indicators of where the shot came from. You just kinda died. If you kept going to the same place, you would die from the same place. You can call that camping if you want, but really it's just holding a tactical angle. This death cam added a cinematic shot that would pan across your body and show the direction you were shot from. Now, this in itself is an interesting decision if your game is self-described as bringing a whole new era of realism. I remember being especially frustrated because whenever I would have a terrific angle, I would have to move just because now the enemy has intel that they shouldn't have anyway because they're dead. But that's not all. Let me show you this poll they took regarding the death cam. They used this poll to justify keeping it in because a majority either didn't care or wanted to keep it. Now, if you're looking to shoot yourself in the foot, this is an excellent way to do it. And it's an excellent way to lose trust in your community. With this same logic, more people don't want the death cam. So I don't understand what they were doing here. That's a good way to put yourself behind the 8 ball in general. But alas, it's here. It's stayed. The upcoming update is 1.10, so I guess it's here to stay. I don't know. You can turn it off obviously in your private servers, and it's not in competitive, which they also later removed, so there is no competitive, but it's on by default in public PvP matches. While it may not be the Battlefield style camera or the Call of Duty kill cam, this still ruins tactical angles. I get that they wanted to be more friendly to the newer players, but this was still a step in the direction away from that realism most of the original community bought into. Now let's talk about the updates that followed, and I really want to talk about the cosmetics problem because I think this is where they put themselves between a rock and a hard place. Alright, shortly after the death cam, the attachment system was modified a bit. Different attachments provided the soldiers with different skills like faster aiming, less recoil, and my favorite grip of every rifle in real life, the grip that makes you reload faster. I'm all in on the customization here, but this just seems like a strange decision. Those options in a game aren't bad, but in my opinion, it should be at least realistic with them. Maybe polymer mags instead of metal mags or something. I don't know, just would have made a little bit more sense here. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point of this here is that it's a step in the direction of Call of Duty. Good or bad, I don't know. Do you think that brings the game closer to casual? Let me know down below. Again, like I mentioned before, they also removed competitive in a later update, and while I was never able to queue in for a match, I've heard it's pretty hardcore and intense. I don't know. I know they struggled with getting players to play, but maybe set it up in a different way. Maybe a couple days a week. I don't know. Now we've made it to this upcoming update, update 1.10. The update is set to release in a couple weeks and has already been tested on the CTE. With it brings a new revolver, some new skins, and again, we'll talk about skins in a second, and a Desert Eagle. Here's the problem. The lead developer, who has since left the project, specifically stated that the weapon would never arrive in Sandstorm because it doesn't fit the setting. He specifically called out this weapon. He said that they would never make this business decision. Now this, I think in itself, is an admission that the game has drifted from the original intention. Again, I want to try to see it from NWI's perspective in a moment, but let's move on to skins. Because I really, truly believe cosmetic items were not going to be a part of the original Sandstorm design, at least not paid. I'm not sure what their game plan was, but Sandstorm released with a boatload of cosmetic items that you could purchase through gameplay. With all the options I have to play dress up with my character now, why would I want to buy another skin? What incentive is there for me to fork out my hard-earned money when I already look like my spicy self on the battlefield? And this is why I'm thinking cosmetics are a difficult task for them. How do you make a bunch of cosmetics when you've already got a robust system anyway? You've got to make the custom paid cosmetics flashier, that's how. And that's where they've run into some trouble. So they attempted to release these cosmetics initially until the community had an absolute fit. They compared these skins to Fortnite, which, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And then the release of those was canceled because Sandstorm is getting compared to Fortnite, so that's a bad day. So why these skins anyway? Here's what I think happened. And I can't emphasize the word think enough. I think the game released, and a few months after the release, new sales were slow, just trickling in. I think the community who bought into the game played hours and hours of the game, bringing very poor sales, but a decent, consistent player base. I think when they began to see these numbers, they decided to try and find an alternative revenue stream, and skins were determined to be the best route. However, with so many free skins and cosmetics, they had to aim for the whales, and whales, by and large, are the casual players. Most hardcore players prefer that tactical realism, and don't give two hot dogs about their flashy skins. Now this is where I began to try and see where NWI is coming from, because I want to be fair to them. And if you don't even want to think about what the other side of this is, then you really just want to be mad and stressed. Look, stress causes hypertension, hypertension causes death. So, slow your roll a bit, take a deep breath. Your life isn't over, it's just a game. Anyways, okay, let's think about this scenario. You obviously don't develop a game to not make money. The game is a product. Your time, effort, design, and money are what you put into it, expecting a return. If the sales don't meet expectations and only trickle in, you're in a tough spot and you've got minimal income, but you have promised free updates and support. And along with that, you've got to keep the game running. Otherwise, you lose those players, and then you lose your reputation, and then you've lost everything. So what are they supposed to do in this situation? Let's say I personally develop a game. I put it on the Steam store. The initial launch nets me 1,000 sales. Of those 1,000 sales, Steam takes 30% of my profits. Then, the ever-so-gracious government takes anywhere from 15 to 40% depending on how gracious they are. Already, I'm down nearly 50% of my profit. I've been working on updates and hoping to get more sales, but this hasn't really happened. I've got to continue and develop content, fix bugs, provide servers and support, and maybe even pay some staff. I'm backed into a corner at this point, and I want the game to survive, but the sales are minimal. So I have to decide whether I want to broaden my player base and reach out to another audience, but obviously at the cost of the original design. It's not the game I wanted to make, but in order to support the game and pay the bills, I need to make some decisions or I'm going to lose a bunch of money and never be able to support my game. And this is where NWI has to make the tough call. Become more casual and appealing to the more casual audience and bring in more players and whales, or remain where they are. And again, maybe that's why they have to add the flashy skins, because they already provided a decent amount of cosmetics for realism, so the only option is to bring in flashy skins that appeal to other kinds of players. If I'm correct about what happened, which that's a big if, then I can understand somewhat where NWI is coming from. Not that I think this is the best route, but I can at least understand what they're trying to do, especially if they've got investors to please. Investors are just basically someone sitting over your shoulder, breathing down your neck all the time. Now, of course, I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I don't have the background info, I don't have reports, I don't have insider info, nothing like that. I don't know. I'm just trying to be fair. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because that's important. But what I do know is the core community is not happy. So what should NWI do? How should they continue? I feel like they didn't really choose the best route when they were trying to solve this problem. So I've got a few opinions on maybe what they should have done or what they should do now, I guess. And keep in mind, I'm only a small YouTuber until you hit that subscribe button, and I may be out of touch. Who knows? So how to fix their game? First and foremost, I think NWI needs to make gameplay hardcore again. I think there either needs to be a specific game mode that separates out the more casual and hardcore players, or a hardcore playlist. Of course, you can just reverse all the changes from before, but then you're possibly ruining the experience of the more casual players that you've already brought in. You don't want to do that? That I don't think is a good idea. But you can start implementing more hardcore features again. My number one request, and I think I would guess if I had to take a poll, which I may, a majority of the community wants a game mode like Hunt mode or Terrorist Hunt mode. I think NWI, when they tried to make some changes, took the wrong route, and instead of becoming more casual, should have become more hardcore. I think there's a huge opportunity and really a gap in the market here. Sure, there are games like Ground Branch and 0 Hour that are working their way up, but those are early games. They require a lot of refining. Sandstorm has a base game to enter this realm with incredible animations, graphics, sounds. All these things could really fill this market gap, but instead, they're missing out on an entirely devoted audience for the short retention of casual gamers. And I think this is also exacerbated by the fact that they're worried about being too hardcore for the console players when they release on there. And really, again, I think that's a wrong way to think about that. For the longest time, when I could only play console, I wanted to play those hardcore games. I remember watching Drewski and Carmen thinking, wow, I want to mill sim so hard, but I couldn't. There was nothing like that on consoles, and I really felt like I was missing out. I wanted to play these games, I just couldn't. Trust me guys, console players, they want a hardcore experience too. Alright, now on to what to do about the skins and cosmetics. Look, this isn't going to cut it, and that's obvious. Nobody really wants these, and you're not going to get a ton of sales this way. You need to be more realistic with your cosmetics. When it comes to outfits and skins, go the operator route. Use just a little bit of brainpower and bring in certain characters and certain stories and backgrounds. Scan some employees' faces if you have to. Get them in the game. Just add something unique that players can recognize and relate with. People love stories. I actually just found out that Sandstorm was going to have a story mode, and I'm very disappointed that there is no story in this game. Anyway, that's a side note. Add in some special tactical vests or plate carriers, something along these lines, just so people have a reason to get excited about the skins. I personally don't care for these skins, but to each their own. The same does go for weapons. Don't be flashy. There are plenty of camo patterns out there to choose from. Sure, blue and red look cool sometimes, but you'll never find this on the battlefield, and you really won't even find this in anybody's home here in the US. It's just not a common thing, and most people don't want their rifles to look flashy. Maybe add some sort of blueprint system or some new optics. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. The modding community is doing the stuff that you should be doing on NWI. Sure, they don't have those licensing restrictions and so forth, but they push out these updates fast, and they add a ton of new stuff. NWI pushes out an update, quarterly, maybe 3 times a year? The modding community is just a bunch of insane minions, maybe, I don't know. But they're doing the work that you fellas over at NWI should probably have been doing a long time ago. And that's not a good thing, because why would I buy skins from you if I'm only ever playing modded servers? So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a young but aging adult that doesn't know much about anything, and I'm just yelling into the wind. But I'm telling you, the hardcore community, not just those that play Sandstorm already, but the community itself, the Arma, the Milsim, they don't want to play this game because it isn't hardcore enough. They want slow, tactical, precise movement, and you guys are in a very, very good position with your game and the game mechanics to make this happen. And this is the future. This realism is what people want. So I would encourage you dudes and gals over at NWI to head towards this or be left in the dust by true realism. Alright, I guess that's enough for this rant. I'll end the video here. I probably didn't get all my thoughts out, or they didn't come out as precise as what I wanted. I've written this script like 30 times because I wanted it to be just right, and it's still not just right, I feel like, but I'm not quite up on Big Fry's level yet where I can just go off the cuff for 20 minutes about a video game and the future, but I'll get there someday. See you soon up there, Big Fry. But anyways, I guess this is the best way to end the video. You fellas have a terrific day, both gamers and employees at NWI alike. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. That's about all. Stay safe out there, and as always, stay tactical.